fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
Greetings, fellow mortals. Just a reminder, saying it's just my opinion is for cowards. It is literally a shield people say to make them feel better about being trolled. South Park. There are many different things that you can say about it. Each person has a different perspective and feelings about the show, but there isn't a person alive who doesn't have strong feelings about South Park. Love it or hate it. You could probably go on a rant about every single episode if you saw a clip from it. As art, comedy, and social commentary, it does a great job of getting people to talk. My view on South Park is that it always has its finger on the pulse. It always knows what its viewers is going to be thinking and talking about as it's airing. This finger on the pulse attitude is especially true for the old South Park episodes, where I go back to those episodes from earlier and think, wow, this is super relevant despite being 20 to 15 years old. You could say that the old episodes are more relevant than the current ones. Are the OG seasons better? Yes, most definitely. Do I still like the new stuff? Completely. Now, this is a rather generic line of thinking, but I do have a very controversial ending to this topic. Do you want to know what my favorite season is overall? The one that I think is better than all of the rest? It would be the beautiful burning mess that is season 20.
What might have happened if we didn't tell everyone about the monster.
About the what?
But love of storytelling, you might be asking. How can you love season 20? It sets up several different storylines and events that were just forgotten and dropped. They had to scramble mid-season to change everything. The entire thing was a mess. They had no idea what they were doing. It felt like they eventually threw their hands into the air and gave up at one point, but then were determined to make the best of it. In terms of the planning style of storytelling, it is a pile of trash. Watching it in real time was crazy, but looking back in retrospect, it's even crazier. Like, you can't even believe that it happened. But here's the thing, that's why it's so good, because it fell apart so badly. It's a perfect time capsule for 2016, from start to finish, from episode 1 to episode 10. It completely captures what everyone was feeling and thinking back in 2016 with the most wild presidential election ever. From Trump's candidacy, to his debates with Hillary Clinton, to him actually winning, to the fallout as everyone collectively lost their minds. Season 20 of South Park perfectly captures a time period better than any other show I have ever seen. It's a mess because everything was a mess at that time. No one knew what was happening. Just watching this set of episodes sends me back in time to remember when I lived through a significant moment of history which didn't involve hundreds, if not thousands, of people dying and a world war inching ever closer. Oh my God.
Oh, I made myself sad.
Now, no political talk here at all. I am not well enough informed to make any sort of declaration about anything like that. All I know is that a lot of wars are starting or are about to start. So that's depressing, but let's focus on fun things, not impending doom. Do you want to know what I was doing during 2016? And I mean the entire year? Laughing. I couldn't believe this was the first presidential election where I could actually vote. I couldn't believe that everyone was so worked up. I was about as political as I am now, meaning not at all, but it was weird watching Donald Trump kick down the doors of politics and insult everyone like they were in the WWE. It was a joke that became more real with each passing day, and South Park completely captures this transition from laughs to gasps. From the first episode mocking Star Wars, football, and nostalgia, to destroying Troll Trace and protecting the integrity, amenity, foundation of the internet. We all know it's a cesspool, by the way, okay? Each episode just goes to show what everyone was thinking and feeling at the time, on all sides, because South Park mocked many things, but it did not mock people for being worried at the time. There was a surprising amount of empathy on that end. In this way, there isn't a better season which talks about everything happening at that time like a perfect time capsule.
War. war never changes.
If you don't know, the South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone don't make the entire season of South Park at once. When they do full episodes, they create an entire episode in 1 week. They describe it as hell. Luckily, the simplistic art style they've had since the start helps. They need to write, voice, and animate everything within a 7 or more likely 6 day period for at least 10 weeks out of the year in the case of season 20. While this does make things more difficult for them, it also gives them a power. They can be completely up to date on current events when an episode airs. Their commentary is happening as the events unfold. And normally this actually works out great. They can comment on things from Red Dead 2 being insanely popular to dating in the workplace becoming more taboo. You can go back to any episode and see what exactly the main issue was that week. It's impressive. I don't know about you, but I get massive flashbacks each time I go back and watch those episodes. I remember what I was doing, feeling, and focusing on during that time. It's one of the things that makes South Park special. The only thing that can compare to it would be a YouTube commentary or late night talk shows. But commentary videos are pointless after a few weeks, and who actually goes back to watch the dreck that is current late night talk show episodes?
This is worthless.
It's less than worthless, my boy.
But there is a problem with the approach of trying to be as up to date as possible, especially during an election, especially when trying to predict the outcome of said election. Literally no one predicted that Donald Trump was going to beat Hillary Clinton. Even Vegas odds predicted Hillary winning. I remember this. I remember the day of the election, watching the news feeds before work and immediately after work. Every poll, every bet, every person who could make a reasonable prediction and didn't sound like a complete lunatic said that there was no way for Trump to win. But guess what happened? I couldn't believe my eyes, that's for sure. I could not believe that his supporters pulled it off. And that was a major issue for South Park, because that entire season was written around the idea that Hillary Clinton was going to win that election. And like always, I'm not a political guy. These are statements of fact rather than me siding with anyone. In every single way possible, South Park Season 20 functions as a time capsule for 2016. No one could believe it. Even those who celebrated it kind of thought it was a joke, like it wasn't real, and the negative reaction was as heated as it could get. I remember watching it all play out, and watching South Park at the exact same time. When I say it was insane, I am putting it lightly. In America, it was the single most wild night for a lot of people, until lockdowns happened. Yeah, not gonna lie, even a few years later, that one doesn't feel all that funny. There was too much failure on everyone's part for me to find that comedic. The election system is what it is. We always knew that was messed up, but everyone proved that a zombie apocalypse would in fact be the end of all of us because we could not handle it. In terms of a complete cohesive story where everything is tied up in a pretty bow, South Park Season 20 failed in every single way possible. In terms of humor and social commentary, on the other hand, it's one of the greatest pieces of art ever achieved. Name another series, movies, or even a documentary that went on while the events were happening and perfectly captures every feeling that went into it. Yeah, you can't, and that makes South Park special, and it makes this season even more special than the others. It is far from perfect. It is so flawed that it feels stuck together with glue and paper clips, but that's why it works so well in this case. Not everything about writing needs to be flawless all the time, especially when it comes to absurd comedy. Each piece of entertainment needs to be judged differently based on the genre and what the creators are trying to achieve. In terms of capturing the moment and trying to make you laugh about the absurdity of the situation, I don't think any other episode or arc in South Park achieves anything close to Season 20, unless you somehow think 2016 was worse than 2020 or something, which is weird because at least we got through that election without a pandemic ruining my hope in humanity standing together in times of crisis. You're welcome to disagree with me, that's fine. After all, everyone is entitled to their objectively wrong opinion.
That does not make sense.
Hey, do you like stories about an interconnected world? Then consider giving my LPCO books a try. They are all connected in some way, but you can jump in at any point, unless it's a series. Then you have to start at the beginning. But I got 3 books out right now and 3 coming next year. You will not have to wait long for content. Either way, thank you. I appreciate you. Do not despair.